This sporty sedan is more mature and better than ever before, but in some ways, it's still way behind the times. Stay tuned and I'll tell you more. G'day, I'm Matt, this is The Right Car, and that is the new Subaru WRX. It was launched in 2022, but I'm test driving it now to give you an idea of whether it's still relevant with so much new model activity in the performance space. It now comes with a sedan and a wagon body style, and there's manual or CVT automatic transmissions. I'm going to give you all the details you need to know about, including a rundown on the safety tech, because there's some real considerations that you need to think about before you buy one of these cars. As I already mentioned, the WRX now comes as a sedan or as a wagon. The wagon essentially replaces the Levorg that came before it. It's turbocharged, obviously, all-wheel drive, but comes only with a CVT automatic transmission. So that might not be the right car for you. The sedan is available with a manual. This one here is manual, and it's also available with the CVT auto. But if you want all the safety kit that you can get in a WRX, you have to buy a CVT automatic. More details on that coming soon. Common items across the WRX sedan and wagon lines include 18-inch alloy wheels, you've got LED headlights, there's keyless entry and push button start, an 11.6-inch media screen, portrait style with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and climate control air conditioning. So it does come pretty handsomely equipped, especially in the world of $60,000 plus manual only Corolla hatchbacks. This thing seems like a bit of a bargain. I just mentioned that Toyota GR Corolla hot hatch, and it is a supreme little thing. It's a lot of fun and you feel like you're getting your money's worth. It does cost a lot more money than this car, starting at 62 grand, but watch my review and you'll see why I'm so impressed with that car. Manual only, all-wheel drive only, and it's an absolute weapon. Another model you might want to consider is the Volkswagen Golf R. All-wheel drive as well. Doesn't come with a sedan, but it does come as a hatchback or a wagon. And if you are considering a top-spec WRX wagon, then a VW Golf R wagon might actually make more sense. Costs more money, better car though. But if you want something that's just a bit more of a leery fun machine, then maybe have a look at the Hyundai i30N range. Now it comes as a hatchback and as a sedan, no wagon, and it is more powerful than this car. It also has a lot more of that enthusiast pop and crackle funness to it. Bit more immature, but that's why I like it so much. Tell me what you think in the comments. The Subaru WRX is considered a small car, but at almost 4.7 meters long for the sedan, and the wagon is even longer, this isn't small. It's actually pretty big. It's almost as big as a Toyota Camry, for goodness sake. Now, it's also got some really practical features, like really wide opening back doors. See that? That is very handy if you have kids. Just obviously you do have to stoop to get them in and out, but hey, you don't really need an SUV. Your back's not that precious. All right, let's check out the boot. Choose the WRX sedan and you're gonna get between 411 and 414 litres of cargo capacity, depending on the model. That is pretty good for a sedan of this size. Obviously this opening is an interesting shape. It looks like it's been designed to fit golf club bags in, because a lot of Japanese cars focus on that. It is a bit of a difficult spot to fit in a pram. I've struggled to fit my little baby's pram in the back here because it's just a little bit too wide, and this is just a little bit too narrow. But it is very deep and there's plenty of space in there. Now there is also a space saver spare wheel underneath the boot floor, which is good to know. And obviously, if you are considering the wagon, you're getting a bigger boot. The figure for that is on your screen now. I lived with a WRX wagon for 3 months at my last job, and I really thought it was a fantastic, practical family wagon to live with. So yeah, if you are looking for that, if you're looking for something that's family friendly, the wagon should be on your look list, but this is still a pretty good sized boot. The interior of this new generation WRX is upmarket compared to the last one, and it does certainly feel the money that you're paying for it. In fact, it makes some of those other hot hatches at more money feel a bit underwhelming, in fact. I really like this big 11.6-inch touchscreen media system. It's got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. They're not wireless, and in my long-term one that I had when I was working at Cars Guide, it was really painful because the CarPlay just kept dropping out all the time. Every single time you drove the car, it would drop out. Hasn't been happening this time around, so maybe they fixed that bug, whatever it was. Just hope it doesn't come back. Now, as I said, this screen is big, bright, colourful, crisp and quick, and I like the fact that there are buttons either side of it and knobs too. So you've got a volume knob, tuning knob, you've got heating control switches. The fan control is through the screen, but it's just a hard button. Well, not hard, but it's a set button at the bottom of the screen, so you can always have access to it. I don't like that you have to go through the screen to turn on the recirculating air conditioning because it's a few presses of the screen to do it. It'd just be better if it was one of the buttons on the side instead, but it's not too bad. Now this grade is the RS one, so you do get heated front seats as part of this package. You also get sat-nav in the screen too. You get an electric sunroof as well, and that's nice to have. Otherwise, it does feel pretty nice in here generally. So you don't have a fully digital instrument cluster, and it is feeling a bit backwards in that regard. Maybe the updated version of this car will bring that in, who knows. It's got a nice steering wheel, it's got a flat bottom, it's got nice grippy hand grips, and it isn't too overwhelming in terms of buttons. There are still quite a few buttons, but it's not quite as bad as in Subarus in the years gone by. The seats are very supportive and comfortable. I really like this microfiber material with the leather-ish lining on the outside, and the red stitching just brings it up a notch as well. Yeah, I think this is a very nice interior feel. It's practical as well. You've got a pair of cup holders here. You've got a little storage section here, no wireless charger, which is a bit annoying. You've got bottle holders in the doors, and you've got a small storage section here under the armrest with a CD player in this grade. CD player, 2023. Weird. Let's check out the back seat. Here we are in the back seat of the WRX sedan, and it's spacious. This seat is set for me at 182 centimeters or 6 foot tall. I've got heaps of knee room, fair bit of foot room. Headroom is a little bit tight, and it does feel like you're being pushed down a little bit in the back, but it's not too bad. You can fit 3 adults across. I have in the wagon at least, and it is a pretty comfy space. The seats are nice and comfy. They've got that suede-ish finish as well, so they do have a little bit of grip for those sitting in the outboard seats at least. Speaking of the outboard seats, they do get rear seat heating in this spec of the WRX. So the RS version gets these little seat heater buttons here, and that means that the seats will be nice and toasty on cold days. It won't be as cool back here though as it could be, because the sedan models don't score rear seat air vents. You do get them in the wagon, and it just seems like a weird oversight. There's probably some reason for it. I just think that they should have added it as standard. Now you get 2 USB ports back here though, and that's pretty good. You get a flip down armrest with a pair of cup holders. You do get ISOFIX points for child seats, although these ISOFIX points just have these really unfinished sections around them. A lot of brands have plastic surrounds that you can basically guide the ISOFIX into. Not Subaru, they just have exposed foam. I wish they'd fix that. It's just an attention to detail thing that I don't love. There are also 3 top tether points on the parcel shelf here, and you'll see up here on the RS model, you get a Harman Kardon subwoofer up there too, and you can feel that bass kick in the back seat as well. All told, it's a pretty good space. You've got a mat pocket, you've got 2 bottle holders, those cup holders as I mentioned. So yeah, not too bad at all. This generation of Subaru WRX comes with a bigger engine than the last. It's a 2.4 litre 4-cylinder boxer turbocharged engine, but honestly, the outputs are a little bit slim by modern sporty car standards. It's 202 kilowatts and 350 Newton meters from what is a pretty big capacity engine, so it is feeling a little bit understressed compared to some of those other really wired up hot hatches and sedans out there. There's the choice of a 6-speed manual transmission, or what Subaru calls the Sport Lineartronic CVT automatic transmission, and it's also got all-wheel drive as standard, as you would expect. Now, If you want to see 0 to 100 times in this car, you're not going to see them in this review. Hit the link at the top of your screen and you'll be able to check out my mate Brett's performance drive testing of the WRX sedan and wagon. He's done 0 to 100s in both. You might be surprised by the results. Here's a handy little hint. The Subaru WRX has one of the easiest oil filters to change on the planet. It's right there. Just twist it off. I'm not going to do that. It's too hot. The WRX has always been about going fast, but also feeling like you're going fast. And this generation model definitely still retains that characteristic. You feel every extra kilometre per hour that you add to your pace because, yeah, you can feel a lot that's going on in this car. What I mean by feeling like you're going fast is that it does have that old school turbo characteristic of a little bit of lag and then a big whoosh. And some people are going to love that. Some people are going to wish that it was more linear in the way that it accelerated. If you do want a more linear experience, then the CVT model is definitely the car for you. And look, say what you will about CVT automatic transmissions. A lot of people hate them. I'm not that fussed. I think they're okay, especially if they are applied well. And in the new generation WRX, I think it is applied pretty well. As I said, I lived with the WRX wagon for several months and I loved it. I thought that the CVT was fine. Sure, maybe not as assertive or aggressive in its character as, say, a dual clutch transmission in a Golf R, but still, I was happy with it. And it also fit into everyday life a little bit better than the manual does. It's been a while since I've driven a WRX manual and honestly, they're a bit painful. It's not a very nice shift action. The throw is notchy. The clutch is okay, but you do get sick of always hearing and feeling the lumps and bumps in the gearbox as you're shifting gears. It just gets a bit annoying. And putting it into reverse, you have to flip up a lever, pull it across and then down, and my hand has slipped off the gear knob a few times while I was doing that in a hurry. I guess the lesson there is take your time. So what about the dynamics? Okay, this car does hang on well in corners. It's grippy. It definitely has that all-wheel drive traction that you really, really notice on slippery surfaces and even on dry, clean surfaces. It just grips for days. It's really, really impressive. The ride in this car is firm. If you want a more comfortable experience in a WRX, you need to buy the TS model, which has the adaptive suspension, and you can adjust how firm or soft it is so you can make it more comfortable if you want it to be more comfortable. You can't do that with this grade or the lower grades. And yeah, you pay for it because it is a little bit uncomfortable at times. I know it's a performance car, so it's supposed to be firm and ride quite hard, but yeah, it doesn't really have that much forgiveness in the suspension setup. And the steering, well, as you would expect from an all-wheel drive performance car, you can experience some understeer in really tight corners, but for the most part, it steers really well. It's very predictable and nicely weighted and accurate too. I still reckon the WRX is a great car to drive. It's still very fun, just doesn't feel as exciting or doesn't push the boundaries like the old WRXs did and like some of its new competitors are. So if you are after the most thrilling experience you can have, maybe you can find better. But if you're a WRX diehard, then you're not going to be disappointed. The official combined cycle fuel consumption figure for the automatic or CVT versions of the WRX is 8.5 litres per 100 kilometres. And that is okay. It's not necessarily amazing, but it is a performance-oriented car, so you've got to expect it to be a little thirsty. Speaking of thirsty, the official combined figure for a manual WRX is 9.9 litres per 100 Ks. Yep, that's pretty high, but if you are gentle with the throttle, you will achieve that kind of number. If you're wondering what I've seen over my week of not being as gentle with the throttle as I probably could have been, you'll see it on the screen now. Like I said, this is a performance car. Fuel consumption is a little higher than average. The new generation WRX range doesn't come with an ANCAP safety rating, and I'm sure that Subaru is a-okay with that because it wouldn't score well, at least for the manual versions. That's because they don't come with any of the really high-tech active safety technology that you would expect in 2023 and beyond. Sure, they do get blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert, and a rear view camera and a side camera as well, but they don't get any of the crash prevention technology that you should be getting these days. If you buy one of the Sport Lineatronic automatic versions, then you do get that safety technology, including autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection. Plus, there's also a rear AEB system which will brake the car. It also gets speed sign recognition, a warning system that'll tell you if the car in front has moved away in traffic too. So it does have a whole bunch of extra tech that you don't get if you buy the manual. All WRX models come with 8 airbags, including dual front, front side, driver's knee, front center, and full length curtain airbag coverage. So if things do go wrong, you should be pretty safe in the cabin. The problem is that they have more potential to go wrong because it doesn't have the safety tech, at least in the manual models. Subaru is just like every other mainstream brand these days with a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty, which is good to know. And it also has prepaid or pay-as-you-go servicing available for the WRX. Service intervals are every 12 months or 15,000 Ks, but you can also choose to prepay a 3 or 5 year plan. Now I'll put the prices on average for the 5-year plan on your screen now, and they are the same as if you were to pay as you go anyway. So there's no discount involved there. But if you do decide to prepay your servicing, you do get 3 years of roadside assistance included for free. That's nice. I really like the Subaru WRX. I like the fact that it's available as a sedan and as a station wagon. And look, the wagon is a fantastic car if you can live with the CVT, but if you really want a manual, you just have to be okay with missing out on all that really crucial, potentially life-saving safety technology. And that's the biggest issue with this car. Tell me what you think in the comments section below. Would you choose a WRX despite it missing that gear, or would you insist on something that is a bit more forward thinking? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And also, if you haven't already, let's grow this community. Please hit like and subscribe and share this channel with your friends. I'll see you in the next one.